The web spinner. Flickety-thump, went the loom, as Arachne tossed the shuttle from side to side, singing loudly as she wove. Her father had invented a new dye that week, and she smiled as she noticed how well the orange pattern showed up on the cloth. Colour from carrots, patterns from fleece, clever Arachne. Best weaver in Greece, she chanted boastfully. Just then there was a knock on the door. An old woman was standing there. "Excuse me, my dear," she croaked, "but I couldn't help overhearing your song. I'd always heard that the goddess Athene was the best weaver in Greece, but perhaps I'm wrong." Arachne sniffed and tossed her curls. "Oh, Athene," she said scornfully. "I'm definitely better at weaving than her. Why, I'd beat her any day." The old woman began to grow taller and straighter. Her straggly grey hair turned silver and shining. An owl flew in and settled on her shoulder. It was Athene herself, and as she clicked her fingers, a magnificent silver loom appeared at her side. Arachne's mouth dropped open and the shuttle fell from her hand. "I think we better have a little competition, my dear," said Athene, smiling dangerously. "And since you have so much respect for the gods, then perhaps that should be our subject. Time starts now." She turned to her loom and began weaving so quickly that her fingers flashed faster than fireflies. Arachne ripped the cloth off her loom and set up new threads. Then she too began to weave. Soon wonderful tapestries started to appear on both looms. Athene showed Zeus and Hera, Aphrodite and Artemis, and all the gods and goddesses there were, dancing and feasting in Olympia. They were so realistic that you could almost hear their laughter and songs, and not a stitch was out of place. Arachne, on the other hand, showed all the gods and goddesses in ridiculous situations. Zeus was standing in a puddle. Athene herself had sticky honey trickling down her face. Hermes was sitting backwards on a cow, sticking his tongue out at Hera. When they had finished, Athene came over to inspect Arachne's work, but not a stitch was missed, not a colour was wrong. But when Athene saw how Arachne had mocked her, she flew into a rage. "Wretched girl," she cried, "since you think you're so good at weaving, you shall do it for evermore." As she said the words, Arachne's body shrank to a tiny ball, her legs and arms multiplied, and Arachne turned into a spider. She scurried up the wall and let herself down on a single thread of pure silver, looking sadly at Athene out of her many eyes. And ever since then, she has been weaving and weaving and weaving, but never again has she woven anything that mocked the gods and goddesses of Greece.